Good morning everyone. I am Dr. Parmesha, Department of Botany, St. Joseph's University, Bengaluru.
Welcome to the Botany Open Elective course Gardening and Landscaping Technology. So, what is outdoor gardening or what is outdoor garden? Okay, so you gave several examples. Okay, so many of them are part of outdoor garden. So that means plants growing outside. Okay, so plants growing outside in the sense outside our house. Okay, so the area so could be over 30 40 sites to acres, okay, hectares together people used to grow this outdoor gardening. Okay, an outdoor garden is a plant space, okay, used to grow plants and other forms of nature for enjoyment. Of course, the garden means it's just to relax, okay, to elevate our mood, just for our enjoyment. uh, I told you in the olden days it was for different purpose. Now is solely we are looking for, okay, aesthetic value, to relax our free time and for enjoyment. But some of the other things we're going to talk about this. Okay, um, what we're going to do, the outdoor garden can incorporate both natural and artificial material. Okay, so sometimes, okay, some natural material, sometimes the natural artificial material. Okay, you might have seen different types of garden, so they have a natural materials like plants. Okay, sometimes there will be a rock, or sometimes we will going to create, okay, some walls, patios, some high rise structures, okay, some soil mounds we're going to create. Then we are going to plant. So in many cases already some natural plants are there. If some trees are there, we are going to build around that, or else we are going to plant, okay, or else we are going to plant. Okay, so majority of the cases, so even it's a so combination of natural and artificial materials. uh, Outdoor gardens of different types, okay, I mean different purpose, okay, rather than types I can say different purpose. Types already you have mentioned, so there we'll talk about little bit. Okay, already you have mentioned many. um, Different purpose, yeah, exclusively we're all, when it comes to garden, our mind directly goes to ornamental, aesthetic value, beauty. Okay, yeah, so that is the sole idea of many people, if we really required for gardens. Additionally, food crops. Okay, so people are looking for food crops too. Okay, rather than just wasting the space, time, and money to grow such plant. So why don't we get some food crops? Okay, some fruits and vegetables. Okay, so they also look for that. And additionally, health and ecological benefits. Of course, they need shade, they need good oxygen. Okay, they need good oxygen. That purpose also, so they go for a garden, outdoor gardens. Okay, um, and some they blended with all three. Okay, so they mixed and matched, like some are ornamental plants, some are food crops, some are ecological and okay, health benefit plants. Okay, so they will plant trees, shrubs, herbs. Herbs are very smaller, shrubs are medium sized plant, trees bigger trees. Okay, whatever you see outside. Okay, so you, again they classified herbs, shrubs and trees. Okay, um, in plants. Okay, so there are three categories. Okay, herb, the bigger one is shrubs, and trees, of course, trees in between trees and herbs, so we call it as a shrubs. Okay, we call it as a shrub. So they blended all these to get all these benefits. Okay, so you might have seen, though people used to grow garden, but in between they plant. Okay, so one guava, one pomegranate. Okay, so like one chakota or one lemon, one curry leaves. Like that they used to keep these plants. Okay, so one drumstick plant. So in that small space, people used to grow all these. Okay, one. In fact, some plants will give shade, they will give greenery, they will give good oxygen, and they will attract birds, they will attract butterflies. Okay, so they serve and they produce beautiful flowers too. So this is how they club all these things. Okay, so the aesthetic value, economic value, health value, ecological value. So that's how outdoor gardens are really important. Okay, uh, to get all these benefits. Okay, And if you take outdoor gardens, so much man-made elements you can see. Okay, so if it is natural, so it doesn't mean it won't. I mean, we can't call this as a garden. If it's just like natural, it's like some fallow land, or it looks like some forest. Okay, if there is no properly maintained. Okay, so I mean, there should be beautiness in that. So that's why lots of man-made elements you can see by seeing this right side picture. So you can make out what are these man-made elements. Okay, so yeah, so some terrace, some patio, some deck you can see here, some paths you can see in this. Okay, and lighting. Okay, so there are different types of lighting, and some fireplace and raised bed, outdoor arts and sculpture. Okay, so you can do this. Sometimes pool, water garden, other water elements should be there in the garden. Okay, but indoor garden you can't have all this. It is possible if you are really big house. Okay, so some big space, so at least we can do little bit. But for really for use sculpture, pathways, okay, high rise beds, and some pool, to have this, I mean, outdoor gardens are the best. Okay, so along with natural elements like plants, trees, herbs, shrubs. Okay, additionally, so you have man-made elements. Okay, so this will enhance the beauty. Okay, so this will enhance the beauty and elevate our moods. Okay, so you might have visited uh, many of you visited resorts. Okay, so I mean, they 50% of their investment on this uh, beautiness. Okay, so the maintaining the garden. Okay, so you might have seen different types of plants, there are different types of construction, a nice pool. Okay, so they are so maintaining, and they are spending so much money about this. So because so they know, okay, people will look for these types. Okay, look for these types of construction. Okay, so because just they're coming there to relax. Okay, so just to spend the time without any pressure. So that indicates, direct indicates. Okay, so this beautiness, aesthetic value, greenery, okay, flowers, pool. Okay, so these even man-made elements will play a major role, so in terms of elevating moods of people. Okay, so that's how. So these are actually important aspects. Okay, so man-made elements are important aspects in outdoor gardening. Okay, so in fact lighting also. Okay, so you might have seen, okay, different types of lighting will give different uh, attractiveness, okay, to that particular uh, garden. Okay, so maybe many of you seen in different garden. Okay, so this type of lightings, these type of lightings. So so that's why, along with natural man-made elements, if you blend both, so the beautiness will be enhanced. Okay, beautiness will be enhanced. And again, if you go back to history, okay, so already we discussed about gardens. Okay, generally some history. So here also, if you go to outdoor gardening, so more or less similar history we can see. Okay, so earlier, so the gardens, the purpose of the gardens was just to grow food such as herbs and vegetables. I told you, if you go to really go back to the nomadic period, they used to grow plants for their daily use, medicinal use as foods and vegetables. It looks like just one forest or one some bushy area, because so there is no so proper arrangement, or else there is no any man-made uh, sculpture or any elements in that. Okay, so that's why merely it's not a kind of a garden, but still, so they practicing this thing. Okay, so from there actually we took an idea. Okay, so as a man became civilized and upper class emerged with a leisure to enjoy purely decorative gardens. Okay, they need so decorative gardens. So of course, in the slave dynasty, so they build lots of these garden. Okay, so lots of this garden by using those servants. um, yeah, again, if you go back, I told you even in the very first class. Okay, so in uh, Egyptian civilization, so the much more. Okay, uh, it took. Okay, so important aspects during those period. Okay, so they planted various types. Okay, so they give importance for gardens. I showed some of the pictures also, like sycamores, date palms, okay, fig trees, okay, ficus trees, nut trees, and pomegranate trees. Okay, so and some willows also. So additionally, if you come to the small flowers, okay, so rose plants, poppies, irises, daisies, and cornflowers. Okay, so these are all again, so practicing so those days. Okay, so and we have seen some of the painting. Okay, so some of the paintings where they are showing. Okay, so around the rectangular pond. Okay, so lotus pond, there are lotus. Okay, so lotus pond, we can see date palms and some uh, what is this, fabaceae. Okay, some fabaceae members with yellow flower. So this is what some of the paintings which is available. So based on that we got, so even in those periods also, so outdoor gardening is also so relatively so popular. Okay, so relatively popular, and they are thinking. Okay, so they are thinking and building these gardens. Okay, um, so next, after gardening in ancient Egypt, Islamic gardening is actually so quite popular in 17th century. Okay, Islamic garden is quite popular in 17th century. Uh, so because when Arabs created huge empire, okay, when they conquered Persia, they took over many Persian ideas about gardens. Okay, so there is a nice book about Islamic garden and landscape. Open to the lower portion. Yeah. So by just a minute. Yeah. So Fairchild Ruggles. Okay. So there's a so nice book. So some information was actually, so take it out from that. But if you want more about that, okay, so you can read that book. Um, so these are all, especially these gardens surrounded by four walls. Okay, and divided into four water courses. Always there should be a pool or pavilion in the center. Okay, so if you see any Islamic garden, there will be a fountain, there will be a pool. Okay, so and some water. Okay, so structure should be there in the center, or pavilion should be there in the center. So just especially the, and this was decorated with the so glazed mosaic tiles. And in many Islamic gardens, if you go, you can see. Okay, so this fountains, and rose of cypress again is a so kind of grass species, so planted. Okay, so uh, cypress members were planted in those days, but additionally nowadays it's a mixed and multi-layered species. Okay, so some herbs to shrubs, herbs to tree, but only the pattern they have so kept similarly. Okay, where they can uh, maintain the pavilion or fountain. Okay, in the center. So this is about so just Islamic gardening. Okay, so again the type of outdoor garden. Okay, so example for outdoor garden. um, Additionally, so they are also look for fruit trees. Okay, so what are those? Ash, laurel, hazel, walnut, poplar, willow, and elm trees. Okay, and then date, figs, almonds, apricots, apples, pears. Okay, quinces, plum, and peaches. Okay, so many of you seen these uh, fruit. Okay, so fruit plants. I mean, almost everything is available in Bangalore in the market, and many you might have eaten or you might have seen. Okay, so they so look for these types of gardens. Okay, so I told you along with aesthetic value, so they also so look for some economic value, especially they grow all this. Okay, and And when I say garden, the first priority is for flowers. So yes, roses, hollyhocks, so narcissus, violets, okay, violets and wallflowers and lilies. Okay, so even today the roses rise from right from that Islamic period, so till today, so they are dominate in the world. Okay, so the topmost cultivating and exporting flowers are rose flower. Okay, so even floriculture, in floriculture, so they are in the top. So many countries, okay, so many countries actually their net capital is because of exporting flowers. Even in Bangalore, so we have a very beautiful, okay, so floriculture areas, and we are exporting flowers to different countries. Okay, so different countries. So yeah, so this is about Islamic garden, where that time, okay, so we had, okay, so some nice ideas of outdoor garden. Why to grow outdoor plants? Okay, I thought of asking this question, so but of course, when you gave these examples, okay, when I asked the types of gardens, so I believe that, okay, so already you know so these things, and some oxygen supply you mentioned in the very first class. Additionally, uh, first thing, the dense shrubs provide barrier to create privacy. Okay, so generally sometimes, so we need barriers to create barriers along with aesthetic purpose. Okay, so these are like kind of scientific purpose. Okay, scientific purpose, so barrier to create, and this to avoid sound, dust and wind. Okay, so and Poonam ma'am will discuss some of the aspects about this when it comes to landscaping. So some of the windbreakers to avoid soil erosion, okay, to avoid dust, to avoid sound. Okay, so Poonam ma'am will talk about this aspect. Okay, so much more in detail. Increase oxygen supply, so of course it is outdoor or indoor. Okay, so where there is a green, okay, so you can expect, okay, oxygen supply. And if it comes to gardening, exclusively we're going to choose some plants, okay, so they are suitable for to supply oxygen and also purify air by absorbing contaminants in the air and maintain the local microclimate. Okay, so of course, yeah, so to maintain microclimate, it's playing a major role. Maybe you might have feel this. Okay, so already you might have felt. So when there is a hot sunny day, if you stand just below the tree, you feel, okay, so much comfortable and cool. Okay, so that means it's maintaining a microclimate. Okay, so it's maintaining a microclimate. Of course, I want to put one picture. Okay, so where there's a huge tree under that, uh, hundreds of people standing as some classes are going. Okay, so like that one nice picture is there. So that itself indicates, okay, so how trees playing a major role. Okay, especially that particular microclimate. Okay, just outside the tree, if you go just outside the tree, you feel so 25-degree or 30-degree temperature, but when it comes to inside the tree, okay, it's maybe 20 some normal temperature. Okay, so that means the trees or gardens will maintain microclimate. And controlling soil erosion, of course. Okay, so because of wind and because of rain, okay, the moving water will so carry lots of soil. Okay, that leads to soil erosion. We're going to lose fertile soil. Just to avoid the soil erosion, okay, so these plants will help. So that's why outdoor gardening plays a major role to avoid soil erosion. Okay, so there are exclusively some plants are there, even lawns are there, grass species are there, and many agriculture land, so they have bunds and they have other tree species they'll plant just to avoid soil erosion. And they increases groundwater recharge too. Okay, so groundwater will be increases, so because they'll cut off this runoff water, so the groundwater recharge will happen. Except that what is that, eucalyptus, so they used to grow as a like a plantation plant. Okay, so the mass cultivation of this eucalyptus, but nowadays they ban that. So one is it will absorb lots of water from the ground. Okay, and again the secondary metabolites are the chemicals which produces from that plant, either through stems, roots or exudates or from the leaves. It's playing a allelopathic effect. That means it will not allow any other plant which is growing under that particular plant. Okay, so that's why, so they stop cultivating the eucalyptus. Otherwise, so many eco restoration like a mixed and multi-layer cropping will increase groundwater recharge. Okay, so these are ecologically very important. So this outdoor garden, so just to create barrier pollution, to avoid pollution, to increase enhance oxygen supply, to maintain microclimate, to avoid soil erosion, and to increase groundwater. Okay, so at least you remember few point. Okay, so it might useful for your knowledge as well as sometimes in the examination point of view we can write these points. Okay, so these are purpose of outdoor plants, particularly in ecological point of view. Otherwise, aesthetic value, of course, each and every garden we are looking for aesthetic value. Okay, here and there some monetary benefit.
With this, I end my class by acknowledging the respective people and also the respective website for their lively and informative photographs and information. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe the channel for more and updated information.